Multi-step equations. You might remember one-step equations. Our ultimate goal when seeing a problem like this is to solve for x. Why is this called a one-step equation? Well, for us, it's going to take one step in order to solve it. We want to isolate the variable as best as we can. Here, we have an addition problem, so we need to do the opposite to solve. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides of the equal sign. 5 minus 5 is 0. We're left with x equals 13 minus 5 is 8. In one step, we were able to solve for x. A two-step equation is called that because we can't quite do it in just one step. We have a multiplication problem here, 5 times x, but we also have a subtraction problem. We want to make sure to isolate the variable first. We want to move anything that's not 5 times x to the other side of the equal sign. In this situation, that's going to be minus 2. I want to do the opposite action to cancel it out on the left side, add 2 to the right, leaving us with 5x equals 13 plus 2 is 15. That's our first step. The problem is not solved yet. We have one more step to do. 5 times x equals 15. 5 times x is multiplication, so we want to do the opposite of multiplication, divide by 5 to isolate the variable, to get x by itself. If I do it to the left side, I must do it to the right to keep things even. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So x equals 3 in this two-step equation. Going forward with multi-step equations, you will need to simplify before solving. This would be a great thing to write down. As we go through these videos, there will be things that I will make very clear that you need to write down, like this, and there will be some things that will be good for you to have. Remember, the more notes you take, the more information you'll have for any classwork or assessments that come up. You can always refer to your notes. This checklist might be a good thing to have. I'll put like a star there. There we go. You always kind of want to look at your checklist when solving equations. The first thing we need to do before we can solve is simplify. That might be distributing. If you have something like 2x plus 4, you want to distribute before you can solve for x. Maybe for combining like terms, you would have 3x plus 5x. And there's no reason to do that, to have that remain like that, especially on one side of the equal sign. That can simply become 8x because they're like terms. Once you've done those things, once you've simplified as much as you can, you'll want to solve. Isolating the variable, get the unknown by itself, and on one side of the equal sign. Here's an example. Here we have 7 times 1 plus 3x in parentheses equals 49. We always want to try and do our parentheses first, but in this situation there's no like terms inside. So we're going to distribute this 7 to both sides inside the parentheses. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 3x is going to be a positive 21x equals 49. Now, we've gone from a multi-step equation to a two-step equation. We want to get the 21x by itself. But to do that, we have to get rid of this 7 first. Subtracting 7 from both sides, we'll move this out of the way, leaving us with 21x equals 42. We'll need to divide both sides by 21 in order to get the x by itself. That works out really nicely for us because 21 times 2 is 42. X equals 2 in this situation. We went from multi-step to two-step to one-step to a finished product. Here's one more example. If you want to pause and try it on your own, that would be great, but I'm going to press on here. Here it looks like we'll have combining like terms as an option later, but for now we can't do that first because we have to do the parentheses, if we can, or the distributing before we combine like terms. If I distribute this, I'm going to keep the 183 equals negative 6 minus 24x, because negative 6 times positive 4 is going to be a negative number, minus 3x. I haven't even gotten to the place where I can start my two-step yet. I need to combine like terms. Negative 24x minus 3x is negative 27x. Maybe I won't pick yellow. That's a very hard color to look at. Now, this should look familiar. This should look like a two-step equation. Negative 6 minus 27x equals 183. I'm going to add 6 to both sides, giving me 189 equals negative 27x. I wish I had a tiny bit more room here. I think I can hide that. I have negative 27 times x. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 27. Maybe you know the multiples of 27 off the top of your head. Might be a good time for a calculator. 189 divided by 27, or by negative 27, is negative 7. So x would equal negative 7 in this problem. Again, you can write this down as a note for yourself as a reminder, or following along here. The more notes you have, the better. How can we simplify and solve an equation with variables on both sides of the equal sign? Here is an example where we have 4 times m on the left side of the equation, and on the right side, we have negative 2 times m. We need to maintain our balance. The goal should always be to have your variable, in this case the letter m, on one side of the equal sign, and every number without the letter m on the other. This is not something you need to write down word for word, but maybe the example would be good to have in your book. We're going to go through that right here. You can start with any of these 4 numbers. Our goal is to get all of the m's over here and all of the numbers without m to the right. I'm going to start with moving the 3. 4m minus 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides of the equation. In doing that, I've canceled out the left side here, leaving me with 4m equals negative 2m remains, and here I have 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. Oh, that looks terrible. There we go. My next move will be to move negative 2m from the right side over to the left. Negative 2m, if I were to add 2m to both sides, I would end up with, canceled out on the left side, or on the right side, 4 plus 2 is 6, and the m remains. 6m equals 8. Looks like I'm going to get a little bit of a fraction here. Cancel it out here. M equals 8 over 6. I would like that simplified. It does not need to be a mixed number. It doesn't need to be a whole number or anything, but it should be in its simplest form. Either 4/3 or 1 1/3 would be appropriate. Reminders that you want to simplify first. Ask yourself, can I distribute? Can I combine like terms? Then how can I get the variable onto one side of the equation? How do I balance the equation to make sure it's still even and still balanced? At this point, if you would like to stop watching the video, you may. I'm going to do a few more as reminders, and just if you want to stick around and try them, you may, but you can stop watching the video at this point if you would like. Here, I have 4x minus 4 equals 1 plus 3x. I'm going to move this 3x first. Again, you can use any of these first. It does not matter. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides, leaving me with 1x, or x, minus 4 equals 1, because this cancels out. X minus 4 equals 1. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. leaving me with x equals 1 plus 4 is 5. That worked out nicely. A bit more strenuous here. 7m minus 28 on the left side. On the right, we have a negative 5, and then we have some distribution to do. That should be our first step before we go any further. 7m minus 28 stays. And what we get here, negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 6m is positive 30m. Let's move this negative 5. Let's add 5 to both sides. Go a different color there. Canceling that out here, leaving us with 30m equals negative 28 plus 5 is going to be negative 23 because we're going greater on the number scale. I'm going to move 7 to the right side by subtracting 7m from both sides. Negative 23 equals, oh, look at that, positive 23m. At this point, we're very lucky. We're going to divide both sides by 23. Negative 23 divided by 23 is going to be negative 1. Oh, smooth like a limousine. Last one. Negative 18 plus v equals 4 times v minus 3. I need to distribute. I'm just going to bring this left side down. 4 times v would be 4v. And 4 times negative 3, can't forget that minus, is negative 12. Which one have we not done first? Let's add 18 to both sides. Adding 18 to both sides. V comes down. 4v stays. Negative 12 plus 18 is 6, because it's like saying 18 minus 12. Subtract 4v from both sides. 4v, funny way to say that. 1v minus 4v would be negative 3v, which that equals 6. Oh, that's going to work out really well. Divide both sides by negative 3. V equals negative 2. Thanks for watching.